Hey world, this is Jamie, host of the Jamie Egenti Show, broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. from Fishbowl Studios. Log on to hear sports talk from basketball to football and view your feedback on the biggest sports news you want to talk about from around the world. So be sure to log on each week Tuesdays at 12 p.m. to catch the Jamie Egenti Show. Hope to see you soon
on Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in. Welcome to the Beyond the Game podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie. It's Tuesday, January the 28th, 2025, sorry. How's everyone doing out there? Good? That's good. Now let's talk about these well, I almost called them the Redskins, sorry. Let's talk about these Commanders and the Eagles. Because there was a game that was played this weekend. You know, I was very disgusted. My two rivals in this NFC East play against each other in the NFC East title game, as most people call it. We saw one of the best rookies in the NFL this season in Jaden Daniels. He went 29 for 48 for 255 yards and a touchdown and interception. I mean, if I could put a cap on this, he'll be good for the next 5 to 10 years. You see the poise that this man has in the room. You see the leadership that he has in the huddle, but also in the leadership outside of it. Okay? He has done more in one season that Dak has ever done in 8 or even 9. You know, if you're talking about his ninth season coming up, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because I see a rookie take this team, put this team on his back, put the franchise on his back, and got within one win to a Super Bowl. Now, did we expect the Commanders to go to the Super Bowl this season? Probably not. Did we expect the Commanders to win 12 games? Probably not. I had them winning 8 games. But they overshot my expectations. And they go with that. He's a special talent. There's no improvement that he needs. The only thing I'm concerned about is the sophomore slump. When he goes into the second season, how's that going to feel? How is he going to connect with his weapons around him? What's the running back situation? That's the only thing they're missing. How's the offensive line going to be? The defense. You know, Bobby Wagner's going to be a year older. I'm not saying he's going to retire, but he's going to be a year older, and he's going to be in the system again. How is Frankie Lulu going to do? How is Marshawn Lattimore, who is one of the best cornerbacks I've ever seen in that Washington secondary? He has to lead now instead of getting into fights with A.J. Brown or any other opponent. He has to lead right now. The defense will fall on Bobby Wagner's shoulders, but also Marshawn Lattimore has to be that second guy, has to be that voice of reason when it comes to the secondary. Now, let's hear from J.D. Daniels, and he's going to talk about the season recap. So let's hear from him, please.
Obviously, man, it sucks, man. It sucks. Excuse my language. But just I couldn't be prouder of the guys in the locker room. You know, just year one, everybody not really knowing each other. Rookies, the vets did a tremendous job of, you know, bringing us in and helping us out. And we all just meshed, and, you know, we got to this point. But at the end of the day, man, you know, we lost. It sucks. But we'll move on from this.
So you saw the quarterback. You heard from the quarterback. That's not a quarterback. That's a quarterback that's already matured. That's a quarterback. That's a 9-year vet quarterback. But yeah, he's heading into his second season saying stuff like that. Come on now, in Washington, the future's bright over there. I'm not saying there's going to be a Super Bowl in Washington. I'm saying that in the next 5 to 10 years, we can see something special in this kid. But I say that because next season could be completely different. The following season, we'll see. Every season will be different for the Commanders. Now, let's talk about the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 20 for 28 for 246 yards. He threw a touchdown pass. He also carried the ball 10 times for 16 yards and 3 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley had 15 carries for 118 yards and a touchdown and 3 touchdowns, actually. The defense forced 3 turnovers. That was the game there. The defense forced 3 turnovers. The team's on the mission, and we should send high praise to Nick Sirianni. The way Nick Sirianni has gone through all the tribulations in his career, every time the Eagles have lost the game or they're not producing enough on offense, Nick Sirianni has to carry that on his shoulders. Despite all that, and you're saying that he's the worst coach in America or in the NFL for that matter. The things that he has to endure, he puts it on display for the world to see. And now, this is his second Super Bowl in 3 seasons. Super Bowl appearance in 3 seasons, sorry. That he can put all that crap away and then take this team that had no offense, that fought for Saquon in the offseason, got Kellen Moore from the Cowboys, well, actually from the Chargers. They got Vic Fangio from Denver to come into this franchise, and now they're in the Super Bowl for only the second time in 3 seasons. What does that say about the Eagles as a franchise? What does that say? Does that say that they are the kings of the NFC East? Or does that say that we should give all the glory to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts faced the blunt of that blame. And the quarterback to be able to lead, I mean, it's wonderful. And now I look at and now to recap, I look at this division of Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and possibly Shedeur Sanders. Possibly, if the Giants draft him, possibly he might go there to the Giants. I'm not throwing that in the Giants' head right now, but you're a quarterback away of being where the Commanders are right now. You're a quarterback away. All the Commanders had to do was draft a quarterback and make sure and give him the tools to lead, which he did. The Eagles face all the scrutiny from their own fan base, and look at them now. The Giants, all they need is a quarterback in this draft. You can't miss on either a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders. You can't miss on those guys. But the Cowboys, I don't even know where they're going. I just watched one of the best games this past weekend. And they happen to be in our division. It's just an embarrassment. We are in full rebuild mode. If we're watching 2 of those teams in our own division with young quarterbacks leading their team to championship appearances. How are you going to, Dak, you can't sit there and tell me you are a championship franchise player, because you're not. We watched one of the best quarterbacks in the league take his team, and the guy was 1 win. I said one of the best. I didn't say the best. One of the best. To take his team through all the crap that they decided to put them in. All they needed to do is they needed a rebirth of a franchise, and they got it. So, high praise to Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. I'm not choosing a Super Bowl winner until next week. Number 2, the AFC champs. AFC Championship game. The Bills and the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Bills 32-29. Again, Josh Allen, 22 for 34 for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. He carried the ball 11 times for 39 yards. So, what does Josh Allen need to do more? Let's hear from Josh Allen, please.
Josh, I'm sure again what are your emotions right now?
It's not fun. But to beat the champs, you gotta to beat the champs, you gotta beat the champs, and we didn't do it tonight.
So, anyways, you gotta beat the champs, according to Josh Allen. It's tough, man. It's tough every season. You know, the AFC has one of the best quarterbacks in this era. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You can even add Russell Wilson in that phase. You can even add Justin Fields in that phase. So I don't know what Josh Allen needs to do. You know, it's tough. You know, every time you gotta see if Pat Mahomes retires someday, and it'll be at that point where Josh Allen will get close to that championship round. It'll be that year that Lamar Jackson gets close to that round. The Bills are close. They're really close to that, to getting to the Super Bowl. They're really close. There's no improvement. They ruled the AFC East. They every season is always a 10-win season for them. Whether they can go injuries or not, or poor quarterback play, it's just Josh Allen's team. The Bills, the defense killed them. Pat Mahomes killed them. Pat Mahomes went 18 for 26 to 245 yards and a touchdown. 11 carries for 43 yards. See, Pat Mahomes didn't have one of his best games. The Chiefs didn't have one of their best offensive games, even though they put up 32 points. It doesn't really matter. They had to work to get to those 32 points. And so, how do you beat a GOAT like Pat Mahomes in the playoffs? Yes, I said GOAT. All these MFers that said, hey, you know, Pat Mahomes has to win a third Super Bowl to cement his legacy as being one of the GOATs in the NFL, it's wrong. It's wrong. Like, Pat Mahomes has won 3 championships already. Like, what are we talking about here? You're telling me he has to get to win another one to cement his GOAT status? Michael Jordan has won 6 of them. Yeah, he is the GOAT, but to me, the GOAT resembles consistency, resembles, okay, I need to work on my craft, be able to put their team on their back. That's what GOAT status means to me. It means different to other people, but, and by the way, when someone retires from the sport, even though they haven't put enough even though they haven't put enough on the table, they're not the GOAT. You can't consider them the GOAT if they put less stats on there. I consider Pat Mahomes the GOAT because Pat Mahomes has a championship and the stats to prove it. The wins to prove that. And Pat Mahomes is almost 30 years old. And all the scrutiny from Taylor Swift to his wife, all that Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs go through every season for the last 3 seasons, and now they're in the championship game for the 3rd time ever. That's never happened in the Super Bowl era. That's never happened. So let's hear from Pat Mahomes, please.
Oh, congratulations, Patrick. We meet again in this moment. And now for you guys have the opportunity to head back to a Super Bowl and keep the chances of a three-peat alive. We knew it would come down to the wire. How do you even describe this one, this opportunity at hand?
I mean, first off, I want to give all glory to God. Without him, none of this is possible, and I truly mean that. And I'm just so proud of my teammates, man, how they responded. That was a great football team, and I'm just lost for words. I'm excited for New Orleans.
So, anyways, yeah, that's Pat Mahomes. Give it all praise to God. Yes, for sure. So, like I said, I'll preview my Super Bowl pick next week. Now, number 3, the other NFL moves that in the offseason that have been made. So, the Raiders hire Pete Carroll. The Jaguars hire Liam Cohen. First of all, how does Liam Cohen not only bypass the Jaguars job, but he says, okay, I'm coming back to be the Bucs offensive coordinator again. He said that. 24 hours later, Trent Baalke gets fired, and now Jaguars hire Liam Cohen as their head coach. To me, it's a confusing situation. If you're going to commit to one thing, commit to one thing. Don't worry about this person's in the building. Don't worry about that. You got to work with them anyways. Now, Liam Cohen is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it doesn't. And honestly, I don't care for them. I really don't. I don't see success in that one. The Jets hire Aaron Glenn. We bypassed Aaron Glenn. I love his energy when it comes to being that franchise changer. Aaron Glenn is going to take the Jets to numerous heights. Why did the Cowboys not get this guy? Didn't even interview him. But you interviewed Brian Schottenheimer. You hired Brian Schottenheimer. But first, the Bears hired Ben Johnson. Then, now the Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer. I didn't listen to the press conference yesterday. I am going to listen to more of it today. Yes, I'm going to listen to more of it today. Because when I was preparing this thing, I didn't have enough time. So I'm going to listen to it and see if I like this coach or not. And honestly, I listened to like 30 seconds of it. To me, it does not get me excited. It doesn't get me excited about the Cowboys' future. This came down Friday night. They made a news on Friday night again that Brian Schottenheimer is your head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I thought it was a joke. You got to make numerous announcements to say, you know what? He's your coach. You're going to like it or love it. Many people hate it. I don't like it. We need to hear from 3 people. First things first, Jerry's is kind of weird in that press conference yesterday. Like I said, I'm going to listen to more of it today. It was weird in that press conference yesterday. He was trying to crack jokes. Some of the jokes did not resemble. It didn't make sense. And here's Jerry making one of those jokes, please.
If you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience. Now, let me share something with you. With all of that, you've just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road, especially if there was an effort to make it that way, and there was an effort.
So anyways, Jerry, what are you talking about? You got people laughing in this room. Literally people laughing in this room, saying that BS. No head coaching experience, but yet you saw the name and you said he's going to be great one day. You saw Brian Schottenheimer in 2023 have Dak Prescott has one of his best seasons as a pro. See, in 2023, the Cowboys were first in offensive points. They averaged 30 points a game. Dak Prescott had one of his best seasons in 2023. If I can remember correctly, Dak Prescott threw 30 touchdown passes and only 10 interceptions. I think I'm right on that one. But don't stat fact me or fact check me, whatever that word is. Why? All the coaches that are there. Okay, Dion. Okay, fine. You didn't interview Dion. That was not an interview. Mutual interest means that it's not an interview. Mutual interest means I'm looking at you in the eye and I say I have interest in you as being the head coach. That's what mutual interest means. Dion did not interview. Dion did not interview for this job because Jerry wants the Cowboys to be in the freaking news all season, all day long. Why? Why? This man has not won 10 games in a season. Never, ever in his life. 10. No. Dude, you have to win in Colorado to take yourself in the NFL. You have won 13 games. One winning season out of what? 2 seasons. 1. And you're telling me that Dion wants to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Mutual interest means I'm looking at you in the eye and I say, I love you, I have interest. I told y'all last week that if Dion were to be hired as the Cowboys head coach full time, it's going to be a circus over a championship. We will never get anywhere with Dion. Nowhere. But where are we at right now? We make it to the playoffs. Everybody will be excited about the playoffs. We'll be talking about scenarios. And when it comes down to the playoff game, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. It's always that type of season. Period. And now with Brian, your dad was the head coach for numerous years. Like I watched a couple of Chargers games back in the day. Yeah, you know I love how Monty was able to take that team, LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, and Antonio Gaines, all of them, to reach their full potential, and that was it. And now you saw the last name, you saw where the coach G was from, and you decided let's make this higher. Let's make this higher. You didn't even interview. Brian Flores. That was one of my top guys. You didn't interview Mike Vrabel. That was one of my other top guys. Kellen Moore was another one. If you wanted to go for Kellen Moore, then go for him. Kellen Moore would have done a better job than what Brian Schottenheimer has. Kellen Moore has the experience. I don't care what y'all say. I would have gone with Kellen Moore over Brian Schottenheimer. I don't care about that. But I don't want Dion to coach this football team. I don't think he's ready for that. People say he played in the NFL for a bunch of years, but playing and coaching is two different realms. You're playing, but you're coaching. You're spending more time in the film room as you are in the play as the player playing status. Again, that's different people. Now, when you're playing, you can spend as much time in the film room as you can. You know, addressing things. Finding out, hey, how can I improve? As a coach, you can do the same thing. The only thing is to step up because you got to be the voice of reason every single week. Everybody wants to hear from you every single week. And honestly, Brian Schottenheimer, I don't want to hear from him I have to because he's the head coach. I need to hear from Jerry every single week. And I don't want to hear from Jerry every single week. I need to find an owner in America. I said this. And those guys at 105.3 The Fan don't agree. I said this. Why do you want to interview Jerry and Steven every single season? Who does this? Who does this? Again, I'm repeating myself in previous episodes that I've done. Who does this? Why does Jerry and Steven have to have the limelight of everything Cowboys? Why can't somebody else have that limelight? Why can't Will McClay have that limelight? The only time Will McClay has that limelight is draft time. The only time that any other coordinator has that is when they're getting called out. Mike Zimmer got called out. The only time he got the limelight was when he stood up and said what he said. And other than that, it's all Jerry and Steven. We are ran by two pundits that know nothing about football, but yet they take money away from our pockets every season with this crap. Y'all will go broke supporting this team. I'm serious. Tattooing yourselves, grabbing all the jerseys, fine. But y'all will go broke supporting this team. Now let's hear from Michael Irvin. Now Michael Irvin said he wanted Deion. Okay. Here's why I don't agree. But here's Mike, please.
Here's my issue. We lost an opportunity here. I don't know what will happen with Coach Schottenheimer in the Dallas Cowboys. But Jerry is a shrewd businessman. And this opportunity, I'm shocked he did not see. I was pushing for Deion Sanders to be the next head coach. And I still stand 10 toes down on that push. And I can't believe that we saw the master understanding of all of this. Understanding of all of this. Let me break this down. Let me break this down.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah, bring me back, please. Sorry.
We have.
Okay. So that's why I love the playmaker. I love Michael Irvin, but however, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with adding Deion to this team. Even though Deion is instructional, he doesn't take any bull crap. However, he's not ready for it. You got to win 10 games in college to make yourself available for the NFL. Deion has not done that. He done that at Jackson State, but who's watching Jackson State, though? Who's watching Jackson State? People are watching Colorado. Now, he can do it at Colorado, but he's not going to do it in the NFL. He could do it, and I'm still interested. I still think Deion will win 10 games at Colorado, but I'm just tired of this, man. I'm just tired of being a fan of this team every single year. It doesn't spell championship success. You realize that every season is the same shit. You realize that we have not even made an appearance in a NFC Championship game since 1996. Do you know what was being done in 1996? I was only like 8 or 9 years old. So this team, Jerry has changed his approach. Jerry has gone soft. Jerry does not want to win. But yet, during the season, he wants to sit up there and apologize to the fan base if we lose by 40-plus points. That's what's going to happen. And now, on Saturday, you hire Mike Evie or Mark or whoever, Evans to run your defense. Now, Mark was fired was in Chicago. But he had one of the best defenses as the Colts defensive coordinator in years past. And so we'll see. I don't agree with the hiring. I don't agree with that at all. But what I agree with is I don't agree with any of this crap. This doesn't make sense. Brian Shaw hired over what? Over all those candidates you only interviewed. You only interviewed 4 other people, and then you gave it to Brian Schottenheimer. Your interview should have been like the Chicago Bears. Should have been about 10 to 15 people till you got Ben Johnson. Your Jets had about 8 or 9 people till they got Aaron Glenn. And see, players like I would have never hired Ben Johnson, but Aaron Glenn would have been my coach because Aaron Glenn, I love the energy he brings to the table. And once you bring that energy to the table, you know your franchise is heading in the right direction. Even though he could have one bad season, a couple bad seasons, and he'll be out of there. But I don't want to imagine that for Aaron Glenn. I want Aaron Glenn to take this job and lead by example, but also back up what you're saying. So for me, I'm not happy about this. Jerry does not care about our happiness. Jerry cares about the dollars that he's going to take away from us. Y'all don't win a championship, but yet y'all will be successful. Y'all will be successful next season. We won't win. I hope I'm wrong. I wish Brian Schottenheimer nothing but the best. I'm very sure we'll hear more from him when the days come by. But at the end of the day, this doesn't spell success at all. I'm looking at an organization in the Dallas Cowboys, all the money invested, we're saving a lot of money. We haven't had one good free agent. Not one. Everybody that's came on this team has been drafted, has been picked off the street when we needed one. It's all about voice of reason. Us Cowboys fans were upset. We're tired. Jerry doesn't see that. Again, Jerry's doing it off public reception. When the public gets louder with their words, Jerry responds in the time he wants to respond. So instead of going out there, coach, early in the process, when you had Bill Belichick last season, you had Mike Vrabel on the street. You had Brian Flores out there. Brian Flores is in the lawsuit with the NFL. I'm pretty sure if he had the Cowboys job or any other job in the NFL, Brian Flores drops that lawsuit. Yeah, Leslie Fletcher out there. Leslie Fletcher is almost 70 years old, by the way. But then, now, you're just making these stupid decisions to create our interest again. It's not about you, Jerry. It's not about you, us fans. It's about you, Jerry. It's about you, Steven. It's about what y'all made happy. What y'all are happy about. Y'all want to be happy hiring a mediocre coach. Again, I wish Brian Schottenheimer nothing but the best. I hope he wins 10 games. I hope we win a championship. You got 4 years to do it. That's the same tenure that Dak has in 4 years. Also, CeeDee Lamb has that contract too. So in 4 years, your quarterback, your wide receiver, does not bring an NFC championship win or Ring Central. Oh, NFC Championship game, nor a Super Bowl ring, guess who's out? We're in the full rebuild process in 4 years. If that doesn't happen, in 4 years, I'll be 40 years old. In 4 years, we don't even know what's going to happen. There'll be a new commander in chief. We don't even know what's going to happen later down the road with this football team. Players, and then during that time, between now and 4 years from now, there's going to be change. In that organization, are they excited about Brian? They probably are. I'm pretty sure everyone's jumping around the walls. I'm pretty sure they're throwing a party for him. I'm pretty sure the players are excited. However, the players don't care about us. It's about them. It's about their performance. It's about them. They don't care about us. They can go out there and put up shit numbers, and at the end of the day, they gotta be satisfied with the results. So I have one more clip of Brian Schottenheimer, but we'll play that in a second. But now let's move on to college basketball. Now college basketball. We're here. What can we say about North Texas? This is men's side, and then we're gonna start with that side. So number one, they beat Temple 76 to 67. Brent Lauren had 20 points and 13 rebounds. They held Temple to 35% shooting. North Texas hit attempted 34 free throws, but hit 23 of them. They took care of business on the defensive end. So, Temple went on their run in the first half, and North Texas, clamped down defensively, took every driving lane they had, contested every shot, and as much as North Texas defenders jump around, they are one of the best defensive teams in this modern era of shooting threes and having a individual goal, a me type of thing. They know how to take everything away from you. This is North Texas men. FAU, North Texas beats them 77-64. Antoine Wright and Brandon Lord both had 17 points. They scored 50 points in the second half. Again, North Texas was down by 7 at the half. 11-0 at home. So the Super Pit at home. You can't come into the Super Bowl. You gotta come. If you're going to play against North Texas, you gotta come with everything you have. You better come with it. You better score on. You better have great possessions. You made FAU play scramble defense, so FAU did not play great defense. They were scrambling around defensively of who to guard. Again, North Texas is not the sexiest team out there. They're not. I honestly think they have one of the best starting five in the AAC. That's the American Athletic Conference. I think they have one of the best starting lineups in the AAC. They know how to work with each other. It's just a great environment to be in when you're at North Texas. Let's move on to TCU women. TCU, they lose to Oklahoma State 60-59. This team, TCU, averages 80 points a game. This is the women. Sedona Prince had 22 points and 13 rebounds that game. They shot 33%. They had no offensive flow. They ran to a physical team. Oklahoma State was a physical team. Oklahoma State at this time is 17-3. I'm not saying they're better than TCU. I'm saying that down the road, you got to watch out for teams that are physical. In this case, Oklahoma State took everything TCU was running away. Stars are playing way too much. I question Mark Campbell in this game. This is a coaching game that Mark Campbell failed because Mark Campbell is playing his starters 30-plus minutes and not giving them a break. All that physicality Oklahoma State had shown on that Wednesday, last Wednesday, proved to me that TCU is not ready for the physicality that's going to be on them moving forward. So, moving forward, when you get to conference tournament, when it gets deep in that conference tournament time, TCU has to show their muscles. And in this case, they beat Baylor on Sunday 80-75. Again, Sarah Andrews had 21 points for Baylor, but Sedona Press had 24 points and 14 rebounds. She might be the player of the week in the Big 12. I could be wrong. But she could be double-double in those two games, and you go 1-1. I mean, you know, TCU lost that Oklahoma State game by 1 point. It's just, but they beat Baylor by 5. And it was only, they ended a 37-game drought, TCU did. You know the last time TCU beat Baylor was in 1990. And I was only 3 years old I was only 3 years old at the time. And so in 1990, TCU beats Baylor, but in 2025, TCU beats Baylor 80-75. The pick and roll was working between Connor, Van Liff, and Prince. So that mid-section pick and roll that they were running, so Sedona Press was able to roll to the basket and finish. They were missing that in that game. They stayed was in the office. There was no rush possessions. They nearly blew a 22-point lead. TCU was up by 22 points. They nearly blew it. Again, TCU is their own worst enemy. They can win the regular season conference title. Yeah, that looks great, but at the same time, you're going to face tougher opponents moving forward. The West Virginians, Oklahoma State again. You know, I'm looking at around the Big 12. Arizona State. Those are lesser teams. So you can't sleep on any team in the Big 12. You just can't. You slept on Oklahoma State because of their success. I slept on Oklahoma State because I didn't know they were this good. I didn't know Oklahoma State was this great. But now TCU enters February with, I would say, a lot of confidence. I would say, you know, they could be better. Let's get that right. They could be better. Number 3, South Carolina. South Carolina dominance. The game of the year. The game of the century. Every season, it will be like this. Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley, they're going to be at each other's throats for a long time. Kim Mulkey, I'm not sure. Kim Mulkey is what, 61? Dawn Staley just got her contract. I think she's like almost 60. So if you're doing the math right, Dawn Staley is going to be there for a while. Kim Mulkey is going to be there for a while. This matchup is going to feature 10 All-Americans going to Kim Mulkey. But also, Kim Mulkey has a good team herself. Anisha Morrow had 15 points and 16 rebounds. Her 93rd double-double in NCAA history. So they shot their 30%. There's no offensive flow. Joyce Edwards had 14 points. A collection of players that will contribute. Now, I need to talk about Anisha Morrow's status. Now, Anisha Morrow will be one of the top players in the WNBA draft in April. Okay. She has a game that will resonate in the WNBA. The WNBA is all about, you know, all about big people, the big women. Okay, Anisha Morris fits that realm. Anisha Morris will go on a team and shine. It'll be a different role for her, but I think she can go in there and shine right away. I'm not saying that she's going to be the rookie of the year. I'm saying that she's going to, whatever team she decides to be on, that team will love her to death. And honestly, if Brittany Griner does not come back to the Phoenix Mercury, what a better player to draft in the first round, the second round, than Anisha Mora. You can run plays around her. You can get that franchise back on track in Phoenix. Now, with Joyce Edwards, she's a long way from the draft, but she has shined. Joyce Edwards, I'm seeing a lot of potential in her. Joyce could be better than Alicia Boston was at South Carolina as a freshman. But then again, Dawn Staley has gone from guard play to post play. Joyce Edwards is coming off the bench right now, but who's there to say that Joyce Edwards is going to come back and be the starter? And so now, South Carolina has it. South Carolina has the collection of players that says you can win a championship with this team. 10 McDonald's All-Americans, but yet all 10 can score. But when you go to South Carolina, you're going to be in a different role, which is why I'm looking at the Cortez girl in Lubbock. She's the draftee that will decide on college student. She has about seven colleges that she's looking at right now, including South Carolina. Now, she goes to South Carolina, her role is going to be different. She's not going to have the same scoring parameter. She's not going to be the main feature on offense. But you go to Texas, possible. We'll see. But, however, LSU did come back and beat Texas A&M 64-51. Flau'jae had 22 points and 5 rebounds. That's another player that could be a second-round grade. But, however, South Carolina beat Tennessee last night 70-63. Joyce Edwards had 18 points and 5 rebounds. Their 55th straight conference win in the regular season. Tennessee is another team that we should keep an eye on when it comes to the SEC tournament. I'm just saying, I think they got their coach back, but we should keep an eye on them in the SEC tournament. It's not going to be easy for them, but I think, spotting South Carolina a 7-point loss, it is not the worst loss in the world to lose to one of the best in this era in South Carolina. We got to see what's going to be better. Sorry, we got to see what South Carolina, what Tennessee's going to do moving forward. Now, two things. Number one, there was a guy on the All WNBA page saying, "Hey, South Carolina has a practice today." Well, they're obviously going to practice today, but he was talking about okay, they're going to address some things in practice about the fourth quarter. I want to say that, yeah, it's understandable, but at the same time, yeah, South Carolina's going to address some things in practice today. But at the same time, you got to understand that you're going to get their best shots. South Carolina's not going to beat every opponent by double digits. Let's get that right. Dawn Staley is going to be happy either way. She expects her team to be better in the fourth quarter. They weren't last night. They were great against LSU because they held LSU to 30% shooting. You're not going to do that with every opponent. Who's to say that Vanderbilt or a good shooting team like Tennessee or a good shooting team like Texas, the only thing that Texas was missing in that game is Texas didn't have enough for South Carolina to deal with. You got to make South Carolina work in the half court to give yourself a chance in the SEC. So that's how you're going to beat them. Tennessee was rushing. LSU took a bunch of ill-advised shots. That's why they shot 30%. You made South Carolina easy. They didn't have to play any defense. till last night. Last night, they had to clamp down in the fourth quarter to finish the game. Now, and again, I'm saying this again, in order to beat South Carolina, you have to make them play defense for 30 seconds. They're playing defense for only 20 because y'all want to rush. Y'all want to take a three. Every possession, it's got to be a three. Why? That's why LSU shot 30%. That's why Tennessee was down by double digits, and they realized that, oh, yeah, by the way, we can get the ball inside. We can make South Carolina work. That's what UCLA did. If you took a film from that game against UCLA, look what UCLA did to South Carolina. Just look at it. Every SEC coach should take a film from UCLA. Look what they did to South Carolina in that game. And now South Carolina has fixed it. However, you make South Carolina play defense for 30 seconds, you're going to win. However, you have to be able to have quality possessions. That's basically it. Number 4, North Carolina. North Texas' Women's Week. Now, North Texas women, they took a whole week off to get ready for this game against FAU. They beat FAU in Florida 73-61. Jacqueline Moore had 18 points in that game. They gave up 27 points and that's why the score was closer than it was, because FAU was in 5 points heading into the fourth quarter in that game. There was no timeout in that stretch where FAU scored 27 points in the third quarter. I hope at some point you have to realize, Jason Burton, that in order to slow down the momentum, you have to call a timeout. You can't wait until the quarter ends to say, that's your timeout. We're going to fix it. That's your timeout. That's your timeout. To say, you know what, we're going to fix it. I understand that, but to slow down momentum, you have to call a timeout to slow everything down. North Texas attacked the paint. They had 44 points in the paint. North Texas shot 49%, but they held FAU to 37% shooting. FAU is not a good women's team. If I'm FAU, and I said this last year, if I'm FAU, I have to move on from Jennifer Sullivan. I have to, and I said the same thing again last year, and they didn't listen to me. I said, you just watched your men's team get to the Final Four last season. Why in the world that y'all want to deal with mediocrity? The era of the portal is here. Your team will change. However, nobody's going to FAU for this. They're not going to do FAU. What's attractive in Florida? There's a lot of things attractive in Florida, but that side of Florida, there's nothing attractive about. No one's going there to say, you know what, I'm going to go to FAU. We're going to have a great time. If you go to FAU, you're going there to realize your career, rejuvenate your career. If you average 5 points a game, but yet before that you averaged 18 to 19 points in high school, you can go to FAU to get stats, to paint your stats. Now, if you stay there, you stay there. But you have to convince me to stay at FAU. So if you're going to leave, you got to convince me. Convince me that FAU women's basketball is going to the top. And right now, it's not there. But North Texas wants it. North Texas women, they want to be in the tournament. They want to be in the 68 standing. But first, you got to win the regular season. And I think this is going to be a tough February for them. But seeing Jason Burton coach, seeing how the players respond after a loss. I could be wrong. I told y'all that Rice, the women's team, I'm always scared of because Rice went on a run in mid-February into March. They won 4 games in the tournament, and they got to the NCAA tournament, and all the rest is history. I'm a little nervous for North Texas wins. But where we're at right now, you never know what will happen. Number 5, we need to talk about SMU in Texas. I need to talk about the Texas women and also Texas men, but also SMU women. I bring this up because SMU women, a couple weeks back, on January the 12th, here's their last 5 games that these are all losses in the ACC. They lose to Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh 70-59. SMU was up by 31 points that game. They were up by 31 points, but they lost by 13 to Pittsburgh. They lose to North Carolina 64-33. 2 days later, they only scored 33 points at home. January the 19th, they lost to Notre Dame 88-64. Again, Notre Dame has like 6 All-Stars on their team. And plus, a coach in about a couple of seasons could be in a running for a WNBA job. Or better yet, an NBA job. Better yet, she may stay there for a long time at Notre Dame. Duke. They lose to Duke, 81-46. The pace of play and the lack of defense. But they lost to Miami 70-63. So what does all this mean for SMU? Women's basketball. SMU women's basketball is having one of their worst conference seasons ever. You move from the AAC conference, which was easy enough, to the ACC, which is hard. It's hard because you got Duke and North Carolina women's basketball fighting for clarity. Who's the best in the ACC as far as Duke and North Carolina goes? You got Miami there. You got NC State there. You got Notre Dame there. Dude, this is a tough conference. It's going to be a tough tournament. And I honestly think that they'll be out in the first round in the conference tournament. I hate to say that because I love the coach. I hate to say that because they got good players. Don't get me wrong, they got good players, but you got to take a sense of pride in the game of basketball. You got to take a pride. You got to make it make sense for me. How y'all scored 33 points against North Carolina? You didn't even compete in 40 minutes. But yet you blew a 31-point lead to Pittsburgh. I didn't even know women's basketball existed in Pittsburgh until I saw the highlight. To the people who started posting it, and I said, you know what? What in the world are we doing in Pittsburgh? What are we doing with Pittsburgh's women's basketball? I don't know. I never heard of it. I can understand Notre Dame. I can understand Duke. I don't understand Miami, though. But then again, if you want to go in this place, SMU, I don't blame you. The only thing I blame is the culture in basketball. Now, in football, it changed. It was easy for them. They competed every single week. We loved SMU football for that. But the women's game, it needs to change. And it needs to change now. Texas men, they beat A&M 70-69. Again, another ass whooping from Texas to Texas A&M. See, we can beat you anywhere. We can beat you in basketball. We can beat you in football. Probably beat you in softball. So I'm interested to see where this Texas men goes. I'm interested to see where they go because I didn't dove in enough this season on them, but I'm interested to see where this goes. This say they're in it's a tournament, NIT. Where do they go as far as that goes? Now, the women's side, they beat Ole Miss 63-61. This is going to be an interesting week, interesting season for Texas women's, because you went through South Carolina. Now this week you're going against LSU, one of the best teams in the league. I think Texas matches up well with LSU. I'm not saying who's going to win, but I think Texas matches up well with LSU. I think that LSU is a step better than Texas, but also I wouldn't. Also, Texas makes you play defense all 40 seconds, all 30 seconds of the clock, and their offensive challenge. Madison Booker is one of the top players in next year's draft. She's going to be there as well. If you don't get motivated by that South Carolina loss, but yet you don't get motivated by losing by winning by 2 points to Ole Miss, I don't know what you're doing at Texas. But Texas can make some noise in the SEC. I'm not talking about the men's. I'm talking about the women's. It could be them. It could be LSU. It could be South Carolina. Those are the top three teams. Then you can add Vanderbilt in there, and add Ole Miss. And Tennessee is like the sixth team trying to get in the top five. So this is going to be interesting. This last week in January into February, a lot of basketball will be played. A lot of storylines will be had. I'm interested to see what those storylines are going to be moving forward. Now we got to play another clip from a Cowboy radio station. But also, there was an incident after the LSU South Carolina game. So DJ T.O. is the name, women DJ for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Playing on the music. I respect all, when I go to these college arenas, I respect all the DJs playing the music from back in the day till now. Keeping the fans engaged. That's your job. Your job is to keep the fans engaged, provide a little bit of positivity on your hands and all that stuff. But what T.O. did, it is the most disrespectful thing I ever seen in my life. DJ T.O. played a song, Flau'jae's father, who passed away in 2003 from a gunshot wound. I think it was called Cutthroat or whatever that song is by Camouflage. That's Flau'jae Johnson's father. Now Flau'jae Johnson never saw her father. Flau'jae was born in November. I think he died 6 months prior to her being born. You play that song in the arena to disrespect Flau'jae. Now, you as a DJ, I saw the comments online. You as a DJ should be ashamed of yourself. I saw the comments online of fire her, suspend her for the rest of the season. To me, I would have suspended her for the rest of the season. There's no room for that. South Carolina suspended her for one game. I kind of understand that, but you're talking about a personal. You're talking about someone else's personal livelihood. Someone that has never seen their father in their lifetime. And we're trying to cure. We're trying to love one another. We're trying to love our people. We're not trying what's that word I'm looking for? We're not trying to encourage black on black crime. This is what it was. So it's plainly disrespectful to play a song that hurts one of the players for LSU. It hurt Flau'jae because Flau'jae has to remember that for the rest of her life. No father. Father made a song. And you play it for what? What are you trying to gain? in playing that song for numerous out there? Are you trying to gain followers? You only gain followers by your positivity. You gain followers by your words of encouragement. When you go to these arenas, they are the first in line that we got to be encouraged about. The music playing, the different stunts they have to go through. We don't care, playing someone else's personal song about them is wrong. You should be suspended for the rest of the season. We don't need that. But yet, they want to educate her. Why don't she educate herself of why it's wrong to play a song that's personal to somebody else? Why do y'all officials have to teach her that? She's a grown woman. If she wants to keep her job, she has to assume responsibility. In this case, I don't think she does. She hasn't. She has to assume responsibility. I think it was pathetic. Playing a song that someone else did not want to play because it's going to hurt them. It hurt Flau'jae. Flau'jae had a bad game against. Why make life difficult for her and for LSU? And now when they come back to South Carolina, possibly next season or on, it's going to be personal for Flau'jae. And now when they play in the SEC tournament against each other again, it's going to be personal for Flau'jae. You took it a step further. That should never be going there. The game was right there. LSU was already mad because they shot 30%. Why make things worse for them? So those are my college basketball thoughts about it, guys, today. Thank you. We will have more college basketball stuff, recap, everything else next week. Now, this is Zach Wolchuk. Let's play a clip. 105.3 The Fan. This was prior to Brian Schottenheimer being hired as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So let's play that clip, please.
This just seems like a completely, utterly ridiculous potential hiring, and it makes it very, very difficult. It pretty much you're on the verge of like zero faith as a Cowboy fan. I mean, I'm one that is very usually optimistic. I search for reasons to try and be hopeful. I think at this point, honest to God, the only reason Cowboy fans would gather any hope is if the Jones family sold the team. I really do. They are going ahead right now and putting themselves in a position where they're acting like they don't care about who the head coach is, which is in line with everything you said in the opening segment with Jerry. Because he said I could get how many? 100, thousands of coaches to come in here and coach football team. You had Jimmy Johnson. Best thing he's ever done was hire Jimmy. Jimmy put together those teams, and since then he's been trying to get the same type of success where he gets the credit, and it's gotten you nowhere. It's now got you the biggest NFC Championship drought in the entire conference. It's disgraceful. And he's still going to make his money because schmucks like me that don't love the Cowboys for the Joneses, you love the Cowboys because you grew up going to games with your family members and you fall in love with the sport. And I love the Cowboys because of the Dallas Cowboys, not because of the names on the back of the jerseys or who owns the team. It's because of the team. But unfortunately now, it's just depression. That's what it is being a Cowboy fan. It's utter depression and anger, and where the hell do I go from here? And a hire like this isn't getting your, even if it's Kellen Moore, maybe it's not shoddy. And I'm not trying to crap on him. Good dude, family's awesome. They walk by us all the time, Brian, in post games. Yeah. But this is an utterly crap hiring if that's what you're going to do. It's disgraceful, and it's a slap in the face to your fans. It's like you're doing a bit. Do you give a damn? The answer is no right now, you don't. You don't care about winning a championship, and all you care about is printing money.
So, yeah, well said. Well said. You know, I took it a step further, so, and that's what I said. I said, like I said, we will, when I close this out, we will go broke watching this team perform. If you go to a Cowboys game every season and spend a bunch of money on their merchandise, a bunch of money on their food, a bunch of the money on finding seating, you're going to go broke supporting a team that cares about mediocrity over success. Coming up next, let's talk about some basketball. Let's talk about the Spurs time in France. Let's talk about the All-Star game. Let's talk about the biggest WNBA trade that happened on Sunday night. But Jimmy Butler, let's talk about him. Let's talk about that. All that next is Beyond the Game on Fishbowl Radio.
Like a melody. Listen while you talk when you're fast asleep. You stay on the phone just to hear me breathe. On repeat. ¿Quién lo diría? Que se podía hacer el amor por telepatía. La luna está llena, mi cama vacía. Lo que yo te haría si te tuviera de frente y la mente te la volaría. De noche, de día, de noche, de día.
Said all I want from you is to see you tomorrow. And every tomorrow, maybe you let me borrow your heart. Is it too much to ask for every Sunday? While we're at it, throwing every other day to start. I know people make promises all the time, then they turn right around and break them. And someone cuts your heart open with a knife, now you're bleeding. But I could be that guy to heal it over time, and I won't stop until you believe it. 'Cause baby, you're worth it. So don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me. 'Cause you might look around and find your dreams come true with miss you here tonight. And every other night, for the rest of the nights that there are. And every morning, I just wanna see you staring back at me. 'Cause I know that's a good place to start. I know people make promises all the time, then they turn right around and break them. And someone cut your heart open with a knife, now you bleeding. Don't you know I could be that guy to heal it over time? I won't stop until you believe it. 'Cause baby, you're worth it. So don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me. 'Cause you might look around and find your dreams come true with me. Spend all your time and your money just to find out that my love was free. So don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me. It's not a bad thing to fall in love with me. Not such a bad thing to fall in love. No, I won't fill your mind with broken promises and wasted time. And if you fall, you'll always land right in these arms of mine. Don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me. 'Cause you might look around and find your dreams come true with me. Spend all your time and your money just to find out that my love was free. So don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me. It's not a bad thing to fall in love with me. Not such a bad thing to fall in love with me.
I look at my Cartier out of control. Just like my mind where I'm going, the women, the shorties know nothing but clothes. No stopping at my Pirelli's on. Unlike my jewelry that's always on. I know the storm is coming, my pockets keep telling me it's gonna shower. Call up my homies, it's on and popping the night 'cause it's meant to be ours. We keep a fadeaway shot 'cause we ballin' this platinum Patron every hour. Look mama, ow, you just like the flowers. Girl, you the truth with all that goody powers. Like a number one fan. Don't open my mouth, let her talk to my fans. My Benjamin Franklin's. A couple of grands, I got rubber bands. My paper planes making a dance. Get dirty, I'm like that's part of mine. We building castles that's made out of. She's amazing, fire blazing, hotter than Cajun. Girl, won't you move a little closer? Time to get paid, it's maximum wage. That body belong on a poster. I'm in the days, that bottom is waving at me like damn it, I know you. You run the show like a gun out of holster. Tell me whatever and I'll be your gopher. Right round, when you go down, when you go
Welcome back to Beyond the Game podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie again. So, we got basketball to talk about. More basketball. This is the NBA. The WNBA we're going to talk about right now. So, let's start with number one. Let's start with the Spurs. The Spurs played in France last week against the Pacers. The Spurs beat the Pacers 140 to 110. Wemby had a great homecoming, 30 points and 11 rebounds and 6 assists. The Spurs were able to take all the outside shots away from the Pacers, but also the Pacers beat the Spurs 136 to 98. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what happened with the Spurs. Maybe they got too much in love with France. So it's kind of weird that TCU, the Spurs win a game, do everything right, and then lay an egg in the second game against the Pacers. I don't see the Pacers as a good team, but I do see them making a little bit of noise in the trade deadline. For the Spurs, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I know there's a lot of good candidates out there that the Spurs can trade for. So we'll see. It's different. Every game is different for the Spurs. You can go from hot to cold, or in the middle for the Spurs. So that was Wemby time in France. I'm glad he was able to go back home and experience that. And we'll see moving forward. Number two, the NBA All-Star Game participants. Now, I told y'all that I didn't describe the All-Star Game because I have no idea what's it going to be about. I have no idea at all. It's just kind of weird that it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that the All-Star Game's playing, the format's playing like that, but then again, the players put it on themselves. And so there's no West and East matchup. It's just the main players is Giannis and LeBron again. You got Wemby got snubbed, Anthony Edwards. Jaylen Brown got snubbed. Jaylen Brown's averaging 20 points a game. Wemby has led the Spurs to 20 wins. We're 2 wins off from where we've been at in the last 2 seasons. And so, but then again, he may be a reserve, an automatic reserve. You know what they should have done? I'm in favor of the All-Star Game playing. I'm in favor of the All-Star Game playing the East and West matchup again. Or better yet, I'm interested in playing. I'm interested in the All-Star Game playing in a format where it's international players versus American players, NBA players, American-born players. So I'm interested in that matchup. If we're going to do it, if we're going to change up the All-Star the All-Star formats every year, I want to see competition again. We can honor Kobe, which they have done the last 5 seasons, but I want a format where players are there to compete. I want them to compete for something, compete for extra incentives, like the NBA Cup. You're competing for incentives. You're competing for points differences. You're in baseball. You're competing in whoever gets home field advantage in the AL or in the NL. Don't care about the NFL All-Star Game because I think it's a piece of crap. I want but you barely get hurt in basketball. You barely. I'm seeing LeBron jumping around at 40 years old like he's like 20. You just imagine you just say to yourself, LeBron's 40 years old and he's jumping like a 20-year-old. I see Anthony Edwards jump every night. I see Shai Gilgeous do his thing every night. I see Wemby, Giannis, guys like that I've seen that that will be in the All-Star Game participate like that every single night. Again, you barely get hurt in basketball. I play basketball all the time. The only time you get hurt is sitting on your ass. That's it. That is it. But if we're going to talk about the All-Star game, I want the All-Star game to go back into its format. The format used to be East versus West. If you're going to do that, I'd rather have that again. But also, I'd rather have international versus American. There's always going to be controversies when it comes down to East versus West. Somebody should have been in there. Somebody should have been out there. You won't have that issue with American, international versus American, because majority of the Americans will be on that team. You won't have that issue. Well, maybe you will, but you probably won't. And I'm going to advocate for Cade Cunningham to be in the All-Star reserve. If he's not there, there's a problem with the system. There's already a problem with the All-Star system, so I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I think we're doing the All-Star game just for participants. I think we're doing it for fun and games now. It's not about those emotional moments. It's about the funs and games that we can add LeBron. We can add Giannis, we can add Shea, we can add Jokic, we can add those guys out there in the All-Star game. But yeah, it's another week of wasting our time. That's what it seems. That's what it looks like. Number 3, the WNBA free agents. Before I talk about this big trade that happened on Sunday night, that is going to be official on February the 1st. Here are some WNBA free agents that you should be interested in. Brittany Griner is a first-time free agent at 36 years old. Sinead Carter, there's a drama on the front office whether to sign her or whether to trade her. She had one of her best seasons. I don't know what we're doing as far as like giving up on Sinead Carter. Nneka Ogwumike probably wants to move on from Seattle. That team's going to break up before it makes up again. Diana Taurasi, will she retire before the season, or will she retire at any moment in time? It's always mind games with her. It's always like, okay, girl, are you going to retire, or are you going to play another season? Because I'd rather have that at the beginning of the season instead of, well, actually, I'd rather have your retirement announcement now, but not before the season. Because if you're not going to announce it before the season, that tells me that you're coming to play in May. That tells me a lot. So don't play these games of, okay, I'm going to be quiet, I'm going to do my thing. You need to come, if you're going to retire, do it now so that we can move on, so the team can move on from you. DJ Carrington is another one that she should create some interest. Being a solidified perimeter defender and having one of her best seasons as a pro, she should be there. She should be on everybody's number one priority list. Now, the big trade. Kelsey Plum, Drew Lloyd, both of them get traded. Drew Lloyd won an out in Seattle in November. The investigation came down, and the WNBA was notified that nothing happened in Seattle. So now Drew Lloyd was like, nah, I need to leave. Drew Lloyd got her wish. Drew Lloyd goes to the Las Vegas Aces for Kelsey for it was a 3-team trade. So Drew Lloyd is on the Aces. The Aces also get the number 13 pick from LA. So remember, the Aces lost their pick due to all the Becky Hammond and the Derek Hemby nonsense. They lost that pick. Now they get the 13th pick. So instead of it being the 16th pick, now it's a 13th pick. In this year, it's this year. Kelsey Plum goes to L.A. They're going to love her in L.A. I think Lynn Roberts is going to run a lot of motion offense for Kelsey Plum on the move. So Kelsey Plum is going to have one of her best seasons as a pro in L.A. Also, LA gets the number 9 pick and a second round in the next year's draft from Seattle. So Seattle gives up their number 9 pick to LA, but they give up their second round pick in 2026 to Seattle does. Seattle's going to give up 2 picks. One, the number 9 pick. The other one's going to be in 2026, the second rounder. Then again, it's like Seattle. Why does Seattle give up the number 9 pick? I thought, the number 9 pick could have been a franchise changer. Now you get rid of Drew Lloyd. Now it's going to be Skyler. It's going to be possibly it could be Nneka coming back. Could be Gabby Williams if she does come back, and it's going to be different. And to the Storm, Lou Ure and a 26th first-round pick from Las Vegas. So next year, Seattle will have Las Vegas, is whatever Las Vegas ends up at, will have that pick. Lou Ure goes to Seattle, big post player, semi-big time, but she gets the job done. Pick and roll, you could feature her in the pick and roll offense, and she can give you numbers, literally numbers. And so I don't want Seattle to give up on her. I want Seattle to, re-sign Nneka, but also they got to change their culture first. Whatever happened with in Seattle that Drew Lloyd is upset about, and now she gets out of Seattle by her wishes, tells me that they need a culture change in Seattle. You let your franchise player walk. You let your franchise player say, you know what, I'm done in Seattle. I want to win elsewhere. That's what they want. And she got every penny. She got what she wanted. And so now, what does that say about Seattle? What does that say about the Storm? The Storm says, you know what, we need a culture change. We gave up our first round pick. Now we got to hit it hard in free agency, and we got to own up to our culture. We got to own it up, because you can't let the WNBA save you. You can't let them do that. Satu Sabali is my other one. Satu Sabali, I can't believe Seattle. I can't believe that not Seattle. I can't believe that the WNBA, not the WNBA. I can't believe that the Dallas Wings did not want to resign Satu. They should be knocking on her door right now. We want you, Satu. We want you. I want you. If the team don't want you, I want you back in Dallas. Emily Eschinger, you remember the 2-3 guard player? Played. Where did she play at? I can't remember where she played at. But she played in Washington last season. Could be a good player. Give her the right team to play on, and she can shine from there. Gabby Williams. Does she make a comeback? Speaking of Gabby Williams, does Gabby Williams stay in Seattle? That's a thing. If you lose Gabby Williams and Nneka Bumake to free agency, you have an emergency culture problem that needs to be addressed. You let your whole entire team walk out the door. Instead of winning a championship, now it's like, okay, we got to leave. And now that would tell me that Nicole Quinn, her job will be on the line this upcoming season. I don't think they're going to fire her mid-season, which will be awkward that the WNBA does that. But she's got to produce. You got to produce a championship, or at least a Western Conference Finals appearance. The job is on you. More pressure will be on you to perform this year. If you let Gabby Williams, you let Nneka Bumake, and possibly Skylar Diggins walk, then you got to challenge yourself to be better this season. You got to demand everything. We don't care about your success. That's out the window. Like I said, you let Drew Lloyd walk. We don't care. That's out the window. The pressure's on Nicole Quinn if those three players I mentioned walk out. Number 4, the NBA headlines. What is Jimmy Butler saying? Jimmy Butler, again, got suspended definitely for 7 games. Not giving an effort on the court. That's basically what it is. Comes back, plays a couple of games, does pretty well and all that stuff. Kind of awkward, him being there and, the whole team's trying to rile him up. Instead of being a leader amongst men, you want to be a child. You're 35. Act like a leader. And then you suspend him 2 games because he missed the team flight. But also, you suspend him again because now he was told yesterday, I'm going to skip practice. I get replaced by Heywood Hainsman Howard, or whatever his name is. So to me, Jimmy, you got to be growing in that. You took the team to 2 finals appearances. You have always said, we'll be back. You haven't been back since. You got to be better than that. Clearly, he wants it to be out of Miami. Clearly. Boy, if Udonis Haslem was on that team, Udonis Haslem would have some words for Jimmy. He'll fight Jimmy. But we're not doing it in this day and age because this day and age is kind of soft. Jimmy Butler's ridiculous. He's crazy. If I'm a team that has to add Jimmy, that guy on that team, he's doing that in Miami, I'll be very anxious. Everybody's picking teams of Golden State, the Mavericks, Boston, Houston. Fits that Jimmy Butler will fit in. Teams. But yet, he's doing that shit, missing that flight. We're waiting for Jimmy Butler on the plane to go play our next game. He doesn't show up. And then, on top of that, you get told that you're being replaced in the starting lineup. Instead of just taking it up as a man to say, you know what? I'm willing to come off the bench. I'm willing to help any team win. I want to help my teammates win. And be that voice of reason. And be that leader that I am. I'm willing to sacrifice myself so that the team wins. So that Hayward wins. So that Tyler Hero wins. So that Bam Adebayo wins. You're not a team guy. You're about you, Jimmy. You're about you. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, he's going to go to the Mavericks. The Mavericks are all about winning. The Rockets are all about winning. They want a winning culture. They want to have winning players. And Jimmy Butler's not one. Jimmy Butler's not one. And, man, I'll be damned if somebody else traded for him. But, yeah, it's this error. This error says, you know what? You could do all those antics in Miami. It won't happen in Phoenix. It definitely won't happen in Dallas. Get a grip, Jimmy. You have others out there that are trying to be like you, that want your spot. You're actually saying, you're at my spot. Take my spot. The Miami Heat are better off without Jimmy Butler. They're better off without him. If I'm a GM, I don't care. I'm looking at Miami. I say, you know what? Fine. I will want him. That's fine. Okay? If I'm a GM, I'll be very scared. I'll be very scared. I don't want that guy in my building. If he gets released, release. But he's got to do some growth on himself. He's got to go in there and say, you know what? My past is behind me. I'm ready to be a part of a championship caliber team. Now, the Lakers say they need a big. Anthony Davis No. You talked about running with Dwight Howard. You talk about those things. I'm not saying no. I'm saying that you don't need a big Anthony Davis. You need to win games. You need to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. That's how you win games. That's how. I mean, you're in the right spot. You're possibly you're in the right spot. That's it. You're in the right spot. You don't need a big. What are you talking about? What bigs are out there? Nikola Vucevic. Somebody else will trade for him. That's it. There's no other big. What do you want? Utilize your teammates, and if you win together, you win together. If you lose, you lose. That's it. Number 5. Here's the games this week. So, normally I haven't done the NBA games this week, but it's back now. The Nuggets play the Knicks tomorrow night. Thunder play the Warriors tomorrow night. The Rockets play the Grizzlies tomorrow night. That is a 2 and 3 matchup in the West. Mavericks play the Pistons on Friday night. Again, this is not no Pistons team that wins only 15 games a year. This is a Pistons team that can really make some noise. And the Mavericks have to be careful this week because the Mavericks have the Pelicans tomorrow night, but also they have the Pistons on Friday. So you got to be careful this week. The Suns and Warriors on Friday. The Kings and Thunder play on Saturday. Oh, the Kings are right there. The Kings are 10 and actually I think they're 10 and 3. 10 and 3 since Doug Christie took over. One of the best records in the league. The Lakers play the Knicks. The Heat play the Spurs. The Mavericks play the Cavs on Sunday. Grizzlies play the Bucks on Sunday. The Rockets play the Hawks. Kings play the Timberwolves. Bucks play the Thunder. And the Magic play the Warriors. All of those last 4 games are on Monday. Next Monday. So, this is going to get interesting. We're heading towards the trade deadline. I want to see these teams emerge. I want to see the Mavericks emerge this week, put up some quality wins up. Also, I want to see what happens with the Jimmy Butler situation. There's Golden State, another team that is in the hunt. Do they need a player like that? The Kings, the Thunder, I want to see them shine. The Cavs, that tells me a lot. If the Cavs can rally off some wins lately, let's see what happens. But I'm interested, guys. I'm interested to see, this week of how it goes. Now, next week, we're going to preview the Super Bowl, but also we need to talk about the Pro Bowl's foolishness. Also, we got some college basketball games coming up. We're going to deep dive into Texas basketball, men's and women's. We're also going to take a deep dive into Cooper Flagg. Now, I'm going to watch Cooper Flagg this week. I've never seen the kid play. I heard great things about him. And so I'm going to really take a deep dive of him. I want to give you my synopsis of his game. And then we're going to come back with some NBA headlines. Did Jimmy Butler get traded? What else is there? The Thunder are in it to win it. The Kings. We got all the basketball stuff next week. And also the WNBA. Again, the free agent side is coming up. We're going to break that down as well. Thank you for listening to my podcast, guys. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast at. And I will see y'all next week. It's Beyond the Game on Fishbowl Radio.
Hey world, this is Jamie, host of the Jamie Egenti Show, broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. from Fishbowl Studios. Log on to hear sports talk from basketball to football and view your feedback on the biggest sports news you want to talk about from around the world. So be sure to log on each week Tuesdays at 12 p.m. to catch the Jamie Egenti Show. Hope to see you soon
on Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in.